A mysterious fire in a historic home, a witch hunt against an assumed suspect, and a famous sleuth racing against time to uncover the truth. Welcome to Nancy Drew, Midnight in Salem. Welcome, you clever gamers and learners, to Teaching Gamers, where we talk about the games that taught us and how we can teach with those games. My name is Mallory Kesson. I'm a gamer, teacher, and ed tech coach with a passion for bringing games and learning together. Today's review explores Nancy Drew, Midnight in Salem, what we can learn from it, and how it can be used in classrooms. If you enjoy what we're doing here, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to receive notifications for when we post new content. Let's get started. Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem is the 33rd game in the once popular PC game franchise. The latest installment follows Nancy to Salem, Massachusetts, to help her sometimes rival and sometimes friend, Deirdre, when a family member is accused of setting fire to a historic home connected to the Salem witch trials. Nancy has 7 suspects, a few days, and plenty of ghosts in the small town. Players explore the town of Salem in an updated point-and-click adventure with several new additions since the last Nancy Drew game. Between exploring the town and interviewing suspects, players solve puzzles and answer riddles to learn more about Salem's history and uncover the truth behind the ghost sightings and mysterious arsons. At various points, players can even team up with other beloved characters, like the Hardy Boys, in this PC and Mac adventure. Overall, the eerie adventure in the haunted town brings Nancy Drew back into the gaming world and pulls players into a mystery that will require critical thinking, attention to detail, and a bit of bravery. Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem would work really well for middle school and high school students, but probably not as well for younger learners, given the amount of reading and some of the creepier moments in the game. There are a couple of jump scares and moments that play into the fact that you are ghost hunting in a town known for the unfair and cruel witch trials. If you use this for a class, make sure to provide the opportunity for breaks for any students who may be scared or just need to take a step back. Puzzles have always been a key part of gameplay in Nancy Drew games. In earlier entries, puzzles could even be so complicated or require calling back earlier info that it was common for players to keep notebooks with them to jot down clues and test out theories and ideas. Compared to the other entries, Midnight in Salem's puzzles are not quite as complicated. Players will not need that spare notebook, and none of the puzzles require using the in-game camera to save any photos for reference. Even if players have a difficult time with puzzles, bouncing ideas off of either one of the in-game characters or a real-world classmate would be more than enough to reach conclusions on the puzzles. History and language arts classes don't have to look far to find teachable moments. The game is great for covering not only the facts surrounding the Salem witch trials, but it emphasizes covering multiple perspectives on the incident at hand. There are a lot of parallels between the witch trials and the modern-day arson, including that the primary suspect is being accused without question and the paranoia that seems to surround the town. In addition to covering the witch trials, Midnight in Salem dives into a small town in conflict over historic properties, the future growth of the town, and how to balance the two. The town is facing an issue that every character weighs in on, and gives players the chance to develop their own conclusions. This is a great opportunity to lead a debate in class, a modern study of the witch trials, or have students study politics and the role of a government in working with its people on a general level. If nothing else, the reading and critical thinking involved in uncovering the truth and solving the puzzles are a huge benefit to gamers and learners looking to level up these skills. And hey, you might get to find out if ghosts are real in the process. So what are the positives and pitfalls of using Nancy Drew, Midnight in Salem in learning? Positives. Just as they do with most of the other entries in the Nancy Drew PC games, her interactive blends the history of Salem well in with the mystery. Learning about the town and its history is woven into the overall mystery of the arson, a theft, and the secrets that the characters hold. It's necessary to read, think critically, and understand what really happened in the Salem witch trials to find the truth within the modern-day mystery, Another positive involves the changes Her Interactive made in this entry to make Midnight in Salem more accessible. When reading any documents, players can choose to view it in a much more readable font. If any players have challenges with reading, these settings and the voice acting can help with processing information. One of the biggest pitfalls for the game is the interface for navigating and interacting with the world. Blending a point-and-click game with a more open environment, there are times when clicking to access certain parts of the scene or items can be frustrating. One click too many, and the player may find themselves going in circles for a specific point of interest. The game also struggles when held up against the legacy of games before it, but more of that in our final thoughts. I also give the fair warning that Her Interactive aims for Midnight in Salem to be one of their creepier entries. With jump scares, ghost hauntings, and more, there are times they aim to surprise or scare the player and highlight the eerie setting. Whether that's a positive or a pitfall, though, is entirely up to you and what works best for you, your audience, and your purpose. For longtime fans of the Nancy Drew games, Midnight in Salem is pretty divisive. It's by no means a bad game, but the 4-year gap and behind-the-scenes development chaos were more than enough to leave a bad taste in some players' mouths. It's like having that student who typically gets really high marks, and even when it's just average, at least they still did their best and turned it in. Then one day, something happens and the student's behavior changes. They stop turning anything in, drop from the higher end of the class, and no matter how much you have heart-to-hearts or reach out to their parents, other teachers, or anyone who could help, the student won't turn work in and won't tell you what's going on. So when they finally turn in work, and it's a decent effort, you have two options on your response. Some see that one assignment as not enough, and it doesn't make up for the missing work. Others are just thankful to see something, anything from that student, and want to encourage them to continue submitting work. For some players, Midnight in Salem just isn't good enough compared to the last couple years of not hearing anything and the few games before it that weren't quite as great. For others, they're thrilled just to see something from Her Interactive. It's a good game for learning about Salem and the witch trials, and it's the start of an updated Nancy Drew. If you want a game about the legendary sleuth or solving a mystery, and Salem as a setting is a must, then go for it. If not, you may want to start with a different entry instead. Thanks for watching the Teaching Gamers review of Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem. If you want to learn more about the game, check out the link in the description. If you have questions, comments, ideas of games we should take a look at, and more, feel free to leave a comment below. And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can see more of Teaching Gamers. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.